Hello, Patriots. Good evening, good day, whatever time of the day you're listening or watching this podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show. I'm your host, Ryan Samuels, and folks, we've got some solid ground to cover tonight. We're going to discuss President Donald Trump and his Asia tour, which wraps up today, October 30th, 2025. It's been a focused effort on diplomacy and trade, showcasing Trump's straightforward style in international dealings. While not without its challenges, this trip highlights its commitment to advancing American interests abroad. Starting in Malaysia, Trump secured what the administration calls landmark agreements aimed at fairer trade. It's a honestly pragmatic approach, recognizing that the need for balanced partnerships that support the U.S. jobs and innovations. These deals reflect his ongoing push to level the playing field. And Malaysia's response shows mutual respect for that goal. He also went to Japan, where he met the Emperor Naruhito, hope I said that right, at the Imperial Palace, a moment of cultural exchange handled with appropriate dignity. Discussions there address tariffs and economic ties. Some media have noted that nations are adapting to Trump's policies, which, while firm, aim to strengthen alliances over time. Japan, like others, are starting to engage with Donald Trump constructively, which could lead to a lot of long-term benefits. The tour continued to South Korea for talks on trade and security with their president, resulting in announced progress on key issues. This breakthrough is a step forward in bolstering regional stability, especially amid tensions with North Korea and Kim Jong-un. Trump's prior outreach to Kim Jong-un added a layer of experience to these efforts, potentially opening doors for future dialogue. The centerpiece was the meeting with China's Xi Jinping, where trade cooperation was emphasized amid red carpets and formalities. As Trump's first Asia outing in his second term, it's a reminder of his deal-making roots. Nations affected by tariffs are still extending warm welcomes, suggesting his strategy is prompting productive negotiations rather than just friction. Trump heads home today. His 5-day itinerary underscores a presidency focused on results, orientated foreign policy. It's not flashy, but it's purposeful, prioritizing Americans' position while fostering international relationship. The road ahead may have some bumps, but moves like these could pay dividends. Stick around. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Hogs to win, see you. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics. Follow on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Rumble, and all podcast platforms. Here is your host, Ryan Samuels.
We're back. We're going to go over some videos of Donald Trump in the Middle East. It seems that anywhere Donald Trump goes, he gets a lot more respect than the previous president, or almost all previous presidents. Here is Donald Trump arriving in Malaysia. We got the troops on the runway. We got American flags. And then he does his famous YMCA dance with some people. He's dancing and cheering. He's not the best dancer, but it is hilarious. That's Trump arriving in Malaysia. Now Trump has this. He has this thing about him, like him or hate him, because there is no in between. He definitely has this sort of, I wouldn't even call it charisma or charm. I would call it a presence, just a presence. Here is Trump receiving the Gilded Golden Crown and South Korea's highest award. That's like the equivalent to the Medal of Freedom. Here's Donald Trump in Asia.
This medal is given exceptionally to heads of states of friendly nations who have contributed to the national security of Korea. Mr. President, you are the first American president to receive this medal.
The first American president, the first president in American history to receive this medal. It's about time other countries start bowing down and kissing the ass of the country that protects them and provides for them, the United States. Now, he went all over Asia. Asia's huge for the United States economy, and that's what people need to understand. We have chips, cell phones, clothing, all of our products that are all of our American companies sell come from Asia. 90% of them come from Asia. So it's important to have these really good and really awesome relationships with them. Like this is something that we need, because the majority of our companies, they outsource their production to countries that don't have minimum wage. That's the downside. It's one of the downsides to a minimum wage. You know, you start demanding, where in some states it's $20, $30 an hour, or they're trying to get it there. Then if you want to produce a T-shirt, it's going to cost you $100 to sell the T-shirt. You get to sell the T-shirt for $100. So what these companies do is they put it overseas. They go to Asia, the Philippines, Japan, where they produce these products. And these people have famously created their own products, like Toyota and many other manufacturers that produce them cheap and sell them cheap. So it's good that we have this relationship with them. Here is a Fox News report of Donald Trump arriving in Tokyo.
And right there, on cue again, the President of the United States at 5:10 p.m. Tokyo time, 4:10 a.m. our time, walking down the steps, ready to greet the leaders there in Tokyo. And as we await the President's huge week in Asia, how can Trump use this first face-to-face with the Japanese Prime Minister to navigate, obviously, the thorny issue of tariffs, while reassuring that Prime Minister of our commitment to remain a bulwark to China?
Well, this meeting actually is very important for setting the tone for subsequent meetings here, because, as you stated, the Japanese and the Americans have an alliance that really underpins the American presence, I'd say the free world's presence in Asia. And this is his first meeting with Prime Minister Takaichi, and it's good that they get off on the right foot, and I think they will. The Japanese are doing more for their own defense than they've ever done. They're increasing spending, and they understand that they need to do something about the trade relationship. So I expect the Japanese are going to announce that they're going to buy a whole lot of American energy, maybe American soybeans. As for the F-150s, I don't know about that.
Yeah, you know, Colonel, East Asia is not an area of the world that is top of mind for Americans on a day-to-day basis. So what could this trip mean for us back here at home?
Well, actually, East Asia is of great importance to the United States. It probably should be at the top of the mind, because we've got China, which is out to dominate us, ultimately out to destroy us. Xi Jinping has actually said that one of these two systems is going to survive, and it's not going to be ours. So this meeting and this good relationship that, if we can get it started with the Japanese and with some other countries here, is going to very much affect people in the United States. The Chinese have been very clear about their intentions. They always telegraph their punches, and it is an adversarial relationship. Maybe we don't recognize it now, but we will soon enough.
Let's get some specifics on that point, Colonel. What is Xi Jinping watching for specifically in this meeting, in this week of talks, that while President Trump is over there, specifically today's talks with the Prime Minister of Japan.
A lot of work he's putting in. Joe Biden couldn't travel around Asia like that. There's absolutely no way. There's no way. He didn't just meet with the leadership in Asia. He also visited the troops. Here's a video of Donald Trump dancing with sailors and Navy personnel aboard the USS George Washington during his visit to Japan. This is part of a wider tour of Asia. I love that Donald Trump does this dance everywhere he goes. I love this. I have to cut the music off. Here he is dancing for the troops on ship. The President of the United States. I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny. Look at him go. The liberals just hate it. They just hate it. But it's good to see a president who has all of his mind and senses and visiting our troops who are under threat of not getting paid because of the Democrats. Now, this is the highlight of the trip. Donald Trump and Xi Jinping shaking hands ahead of their high trade meeting in South Korea. Okay, so they met in South Korea. The Trump administration has put a significant amount of tariffs on these countries. And they're doing so that they have leverage against these countries and what they're doing to the United States. We are being tariffed significantly more than we are tariffing them. And that's a major problem because it's costing us a significant amount of money. Here is the meeting. Come out, shaking hands.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting.
Xi Jinping does not seem happy to see Donald Trump because he knows he's going to want certain things.
That's not good.
He's very you could tell just by his body language, by Xi Jinping's body language. Let's kind of break it down. Trump is there. Xi Jinping shakes his hand, looks away, very uninterested. See how Donald's leaning in? He's leaning in. Xi Jinping is kind of standing still. He's not even looking at him. Trump is looking at him. Xi Jinping is looking out at the cameras.
We're going to have a very successful meeting, I have no doubt. But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good. We know each other well.
Mr. President, do you plan to sign a trade deal today?
Could be. I think we'll have a great understanding. We have a great relationship. We've always had a great relationship.
I don't know about that. Xi Jinping is not. Hopefully they make some progress. I don't want the tariffs to go away. I think that long-term tariffs are definitely a really good thing because there was a time where we didn't have an income tax. We had tariffs. And tariffs provided enough source of revenue for the expenditures that we had. Now, since we've done the income tax, we've done significantly more expenses in the federal government. Here they are at the table. Let's watch this clip.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Thursday that he had struck a deal with Chinese President Xi Jinping to reduce tariffs on China to 47% from 57%.
That's why Xi Jinping wasn't happy. That's why he's not happy, because he probably got raked over the coals by Trump.
That is in exchange for Beijing resuming U.S. soybean purchases, keeping rare earth exports flowing, and cracking down on the illicit trade of fentanyl. Trump spoke to reporters aboard Air Force One.
I think pretty soon. We have not too many major stumbling blocks. We have a deal. Now, every year we'll renegotiate the deal. I'll be going to China in April, and he'll be coming here sometime after that, whether it's in Florida, Palm Beach, or Washington, D.C.
His comments came as he was flying back to the U.S. after face-to-face talks with Xi in the South Korean city of Busan. It was the two leaders' first meeting since 2019 and marked the finale of Trump's whirlwind Asia trip, on which he also touted trade breakthroughs with South Korea, Japan, and Southeast Asian nations. Ahead of the meeting, Trump and Xi spoke to the media.
And we're going to have a very successful meeting.
This is the clip we just
As
watched.
they sat down with their delegations, Xi told Trump via a translator that it was normal for the two leading economies of the world to have frictions now and then.
We do not always see eye to eye with each other.
World stock markets from Wall Street to Tokyo had hit record highs leading up to the meeting. That was on hopes of a breakthrough in a trade war between the world's two largest economies that has upended supply chains and rocked global business confidence. Trading in global stocks was choppy as Trump revealed details of the deal, with major Asian indices and European futures swinging between gains and losses. The meeting, which took place on the sidelines of the APEC summit, as Xi was flying in and Trump was flying out, lasted nearly 2 hours before Trump shook hands with Xi and escorted him to his car. Trump was then given a red carpet send-off at the airport as he skipped the main sessions of the APEC forum. Trump repeatedly talked up the prospect of reaching an agreement with Xi, since U.S. negotiators on Sunday said they had agreed on a framework with China. But with both countries increasingly willing to play hardball over areas of economic and geopolitical competition, many questions remain about how long any trade détente may last.
We'll see what happens. China has become a mega superpower in the world, and we should have never allowed that to happen. We even fed it. We fed this economy. We still feed the economy. We have our corporations feeding their economy. But the only thing we can do now is try to make us benefit us as best as possible. Here is Trump. Trump hails this the golden age of Japan relations.
This woman is a winner, so, you know, we've become very close friends all of a sudden. The first female prime minister in the history of Japan. Madam Prime Minister.
Yeah, how do you think that negotiation went well? You think that she, because she's the first female prime minister, you think that went well?
I have always had a great love of Japan and a great respect of Japan. I want to just let you know, anytime you have any question, any doubt, anything you want, any favors you need, anything I can do to help Japan, we will be there. We are an ally at the strongest level.
Trump signing the mineral agreement. Always a good thing. Despite the successful meeting, there is still pressure on Takaichi to negotiate the terms of Japan's tariff deals with Trump. You're not going to win against the United States. That's something that's just not that's not in the cards. That's not something that is going to end very well for anybody. Sorry. We're just going to win. We have the biggest military in the world. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the most insane economy in the world. And all of this while the government is shut down. Trump is making historic deals which I think is epically hilarious.
President right now.
This is Trump meeting, and this is him meeting with other world leaders in South Korea. This is a live feed from Fox News.
Thank you very much for your participation as heads of states. It is a great pleasure to be able to meet you at this table. President Trump has joined us today. We are all allies and friends of the U.S. The whole world is faced with multiple challenges, and in these times, collaboration
This is the president of South Korea.
and cooperation among states is more important than ever before. This is indeed a rare opportunity for us to gather. I hope it will be a great opportunity to listen to your great insights. In particular, President Trump has joined us, and I do believe that it is very significant. As the host, I would like to wish each and every one of you prosperity and also world peace. Let me raise a toast. For world peace and collaboration between states.
그리고 저는 아주 짧은
I would now like to turn the floor to President Trump for his remarks.
Just everybody kisses his ass. I love it. And that's exactly how it should be. It's exactly how it should be.
Either reasonably well or very either reasonably well or very well. And we had a tremendous meeting today with South Korea. I think the meeting was a lot was determined, very much determined, and we made our deal. We pretty much finalized a trade deal, and we discussed some other things having to do with national security, etc. And I think we came to a conclusion on a lot of very important items. We had a terrific meeting in Japan also, and we concluded a trade deal, very big one, a very big trade deal. And I always say good for both countries. I think it really is great for both countries. But I just wanted to thank you. You rolled out a red carpet that was a very good red carpet, a beautiful red carpet, and giving me the honor of that magnificent piece of art, because it really was a piece of art that you presented to me today. And to be the first president of the United States that got that was really something very special. So I appreciate it very much, and I won't forget the trip. And we'll be working together, and you have a little bit of a cloud over your country, and we're going to get that cloud solved. You have a neighbor that hasn't been as nice as they could be, and I think they will be. I know Kim Jong-un very well, and I think things will work out very well. Tomorrow I meet with President Xi of China, and I look forward to that.
The good thing is, and the good news is that Donald Trump does know Kim Jong-un very well, and we're going to go over that in a minute once we're done with this clip.
And we've been talking a lot over the last month, and I think we're going to have something that's going to be very, very satisfactory to China and to us. I think we're going to have I think it's going to be a very good meeting. I look forward to it. Tomorrow morning we meet, and then I go back to the United States, and then I go around the United States, and the same thing happens, but we're doing very well. Our country is doing phenomenally well, better than I think it's ever done. We hit new highs in the stock markets, all of them. Every market's hit new highs, and they have, I think, 48 times since I've been 9 months. We've hit 48 times we've hit new highs, and many of you are investors in the United States. From the standpoint of stocks, you put a lot of money in our stocks, so you're doing very well. I'd like to congratulate you. In some cases, you've doubled your money in about a year, and I'm very impressed with you. Your voters are very impressed with you.
Trump giving a little bit grace to the president of South Korea. But this is Trump back in, I think this was 2019, where he met with Kim Jong-un in a famous meeting to where Kim Jong-un brought him into North Korea, which has never happened before.
They have a lot of nuclear weapons, but not a lot of telephone service.
Sir, while in South Korea, do you have any plans to meet with Kim Jong-un at the DMZ?
Well, I would if he would contact. I mean, I was, the last time I met you, and I put it out over the internet that I'm coming to South Korea. If he'd like to meet, I'm open to it, certainly. We had a very, yeah, I'd do it. I mean, if you want to put out the word, I'm open to it. You know, they don't have a lot of telephone service. They have a lot of nuclear weapons, but not a lot of telephone service. So I'm open to it. I had a great relationship with him, and he probably knows I'm coming, right? But you want to put out the word, I'm open to it. They have a lot of nuclear weapons, but not a lot of telephone service.
First president in history to walk over to North Korea. So he does have this really good relationship with a lot of leaders throughout the world. Now, I think this is a news report from France. This is Trump is hopeful that his meeting with Xi Jinping could provide another stepping stone towards a deal. Yeah, this is a French report. So let's watch a foreign report and see what the world thinks of this situation.
Yeah, and let's talk about that news coming into us, first of all, from China an hour or so ago, confirming then what is set to be, anyway, the highlight of Donald Trump's trip, that he will meet with the Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Yeah, we've been talking about this now for days, maybe even weeks, about whether Trump and Xi are going to meet. Why is this such a big deal? Well, of course, it comes after months of increased trade tariff tensions between these two economic giants, between Washington and Beijing. It comes after China introduced export controls on its rare earth minerals just in the last few weeks. Washington hitting back, threatening 100% tariffs on some things, threatening to limit the export of critical softwares. And so there really are a lot of things that still need to be hashed out between these two countries, from tariffs to trade deals, from soybeans to semiconductors. The list goes on, and Trump, it seems, is hopeful that this meeting between Xi Jinping and himself could provide another stepping stone towards hashing out what he thinks could be a deal between China and the United States. He said today that this is going to be a great deal for both the US and China, and we have seen increasingly warm rhetoric from both sides in the last few days. At least, I will say, warmer rhetoric coming from Scott Bessent, from other representatives from the US than we've seen from Beijing. But really, we're going to have to wait and see what happens tomorrow when those two leaders are set to meet in the south of South Korea, and see what decisions they come to after.
Well, of course you're not going to get a warm response from Beijing. Beijing has been raking the United States over the coals for decades. And it's because politicians have allowed them to do that. And now you have a politician that's stepping up to them. And he's saying, we're not going to do that. We're going to tariff you at 57%. He wants the tariffs higher. Donald Trump wants the tariffs higher because they're friggin' killing us. If we want to sell things in their country, they're killing us. And we've been the world's frickin' pony forever, and they're done. Ride the free ride is over. The free ride is over, and it should be over. Why would we, on God's green earth, pay China for them to sell us their goods, or pay China for us to sell them their goods? We make good goods.
Yeah, of course, a lot of coverage of that tomorrow here on France 24. Meanwhile, let's talk a bit more about today then, Jan. I mean, Trump really hoping to cement his relationships further in South Korea now.
Yeah, it's the latest stop on his whistle-stop tour around Asia. He was in Malaysia. Yesterday, he was in Japan. Today, he's in South Korea. And those countries also taking this opportunity to firm up that relationship with Donald Trump. Lee Jae-myung, the relatively new leader of South Korea, also taking this opportunity to meet with him for an hour and a half, I think it was, to discuss various things from asking the U.S. for more fuel for South Korea's nuclear-powered submarines to pledging to boost defense spending. We know that's something that Trump cares about and has been wanting to push his allies in the region to take more of that, to bear the responsibility of defending themselves on themselves. And so that perhaps...
Yes. Yes.
Is something that Trump would have wanted to hear. Trump himself has used a speech he was giving at the APEC forum today to say that a deal between South Korea and the U.S. is close to being finalized. We're not sure how accurate that is. It looks like there are still several hurdles that need to be crossed. And of course, there was much more talk going on about whether or not Kim Jong-un from North Korea was going to be meeting with Donald Trump, using this opportunity of having Trump on the Korean peninsula to stage another big meeting of the likes we saw in 2019. Let me just take you back. That was when Trump, 36 hours before the two leaders met, tweeted out saying he'd be willing to meet. And before you knew it, they were up in the DMZ, shaking hands, and Trump, of course, crossing over. It looks so like that's not going to be happening this time. North Korea launching some missiles ahead of this APEC summit, and Trump saying that it looks like the meeting with North Korea, that we weren't even sure was confirmed in the first place, is not going to be happening today. But Lee Jae-myung, he has himself said he hopes that Trump can be an advocate for peace across the Korean peninsula, and he said that he thinks it's a good sign. He has, quotes, a sense of warmth and peace from the fact that there is a leader in Washington who has said he is willing to meet with the North Korean leader. And that, for the South Korean leader, looks at least like a step in the right direction.
Definitely have some good positive things coming from foreign news channels. Here is this is from Asia One. They're obviously a news station in Asia. The one and only.
US President
Let's hear what they have to say.
has departed for Asia on a multi-nation visit where he's set to hold high-stakes trade talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping. And Trump also signaled he may meet North Korean leader Kim Jong-un during the trip. The week-long visit will take Trump to Malaysia, Japan and South Korea for a series of economic and diplomatic meetings. Trump's first stop will be Malaysia on Sunday for the Asian Summit, a regional meeting he skipped several times during his first term. He's also expected to sign new trade and peace agreements before continuing to Japan and South Korea. The visit will culminate in a meeting with Xi Jinping at the APEC summit, where the talks are expected to focus on ending the trade war and strengthening economic cooperation in the region. US President Donald Trump has departed for Asia on a
Seems to be pretty positive around the world. We seem to have really positive coverage around the world. Here is Peter Doocy on Fox News about the Asian visit of Donald Trump.
We are starting our final hour with a Fox News alert. President Trump meeting with Japan's emperor earlier this morning after arriving in Tokyo.
It's a second stop on Trump's Asia trip as he gets ready to meet with China's Xi Jinping later this week.
Senior White House correspondent Peter Doocy joins us live from Tokyo with the latest. Peter.
Good morning. Yes, President Trump was very warmly greeted by Japan's imperial leader, the emperor, shortly after touching down here in Asia, or rather here in Japan, from his first stop in Asia in Malaysia. And the president here in Tokyo has a long list of economic and security priorities that he wants to try to address. All of Asia will be watching his every move, but in many ways, an audience of one is the most important, the one the president is going to meet with in South Korea this week, China's Xi.
We're going to have a great talk. I have a lot of respect for President Xi. I like him a lot. He likes me a lot, I believe, and respects me, and I think he respects our country a lot. And we're going to have, I think we're going to have a successful transaction for both countries.
one transaction that's possible, the sale of TikTok from China to a group of American investors. President Trump says he may sign that deal with Xi this week. Then, according to the Treasury Secretary who is traveling with the president, the D.C. and Beijing-based negotiators just need to cross some T's and dot some I's on a significant trade deal.
I believe we've reached a very substantial framework that will avoid that and allow us to discuss many other things with the Chinese. I think we will be able to discuss them helping us get this terrible fentanyl crisis under control. I think we are going to be able to discuss substantial soybean and ag purchases for our American farmers.
After a long flight to Kuala Lumpur this weekend, President Trump felt like dancing to the music played for him at an arrival ceremony. And this is why. He said, just leaving Malaysia, a great and very vibrant country, signed major trade and rare earth deals. And yesterday, most importantly, signed the peace treaty between Thailand and Cambodia. No war. Millions of lives saved. Such an honor to have gotten this done. Tomorrow, the president's going to meet for the first time with the drum-playing, former TV show hosting Japanese prime minister. Local reports are that she's going to gift him a golf club used by the late Shinzo Abe and a gold leaf golf ball. And this all adds to a very exciting week here in Japan, where millions of people have been waking up early to watch Shohei Ohtani, Japan's own Shohei Ohtani, in the World Series games before school and before work. So there's a lot going on here in Tokyo. Back to you guys.
Absolutely. It seems like they're establishing good relations. Peter, in terms of who's with the president, is it true that Secretary of State Marco Rubio still can't get into China because I think they banned him?
It seems like there is some complication with his travel, but that is something that President Trump would be able to work out at the leader level with Xi. And it seems like for this trip, the key point people are, it's not going to be Secretary Rubio, who is, of course, the top diplomat for the country, but it is Jamieson Greer, the trade representative, and Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, because those are the ones who have been working their counterparts for days with intense final negotiations ahead of the leader level meeting. As we understand it, they would not, President Trump and Xi would not be having this meeting this week in South Korea if the lower level negotiators, the cabinet level negotiators, were not really, really close to a deal that would level the playing field for the economy. Basically, if President Trump is convinced, can be convinced, that Xi and China are going to stop ripping the U.S. off, among others elsewhere in the world economy as well, but especially the U.S.
They're crushing us. They're ripping us off, man. They're producing all of our goods. They control our cell phones. All of our cell phones are being produced in China.
If they were not really, really close to a good deal for the U.S., President Trump would be going home.
You know, Peter, when we play that video of President Trump dancing as he was greeted in Malaysia, we had this video. We were talking about this over the weekend when he touched down. It struck me as such a contrast. If you remember back under the Biden administration, when President Biden had some musicians there on the White House back in 2024, and he just was frozen. Such a contrast. It's very different than this president. What do you make of just how different of a president he is?
Like, what's better?
I can't believe I had to come all the way to Tokyo before the idea of a Trump and Joe Biden dance-off was ever presented. It's always possible. No, it's President Trump. You can tell that he feels really loose right now. He feels like he has the wind at his back, ending global conflicts, nearing trade deals that are going to be really helpful to the United States, and meeting a prime minister here who is really good friends, or who was an admirer and a political ally of his really good friend, Shinzo Abe. So President Trump is having a great time. I'm sure that he's pretty jet-lagged, but he feels like he has the wind at his back.
Right.
When we came here with Joe Biden, things were usually a little bit more tense. The U.S., the world was coming out of this global pandemic. He was trying to repair alliances that he thought needed repairing. And I'm having this thought now, coming to this conclusion for the first time, Joe Biden went around the world thinking that he needed to repair alliances that were damaged by Donald Trump. that would appear to be in conflict with a president who can land pretty much anywhere in the world and just start dancing and be celebrated.
Thanks, Peter.
And we can come here to Tokyo and have Tokyo Tower lit up in red, white, and blue. So.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Peter.
So China, by the way, is saying the same things that we are about and optimistic about doing a deal. Their vice commissioner minister, who's the one that Scott Bessett's dealing with, he said the two sides they've recorded, they've gotten over some their preliminary, they have reached a preliminary consensus on the deal. And one of the things they have done, and I think, is got leverage. The president got a deal with Thailand on processing rare earth. He got a deal with Malaysia on getting minerals, and he got a deal with $13 billion from Australia to get rare earth processing done, which has also included something with Cambodia. So immediately the president created leverage. I'll go somewhere up from rare earth if I have to.
Another peace deal for Donald Trump.
Hey, everyone. I'm
Yes, another peace deal. I wouldn't call it a peace deal. That's a little bit dramatic there, Fox News. But we're going to follow that. We got some big news coming up this week. We will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. live. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and we will see you tomorrow. God bless.
Thanks for tuning in to The Ryan Samuels Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.